Hey everybody, this is On Stuff with Jeff, where I'm Jeff and I talk about my stuff. Please, like, subscribe, share, all that YouTube stuff that helps spread the message. This is going to be the first Crypta Metallum bonus video. Last week, Brainsmasher put out a video of a top 20 list, top 20 questions. He got that from a guy from a YouTube channel called The Rock Scout. By the way, check out Brainsmasher. If you don't, that you should really do that. Yep. Okay. Let's see. So question one. Number one, music spoiled by vocals. Now this was a difficult one because I actually do still love the album. And I do still listen to it, but I guess I had to choose something. This is Summoning's first album, Lugbers. What can you say? Even they don't know what they're saying because they lost the lyric sheets, and it's just hard to understand. I mean, I know black metal, death metal. It's hard to understand what they're saying anyway on the best of times, but I had to come up with some album to put on, so I chose this one. Story goes, they lost the lyrics, and now they don't even know how to perform, don't even know how to sing the songs live. So there you go. Number one. Okay, number two, an album you love that's let down by bad production. And this one, because I got into metal in the 80s. With thrash, and because of this album, this and Iron Maiden got me into metal, and this was one of the first albums that I really loved. I really got into it. I listened to it over and over and over. Oh my God! A friend of mine who's gone on to become an award-winning tabletop game designer. We wrote songs like "Flattened" instead of "Blackened," stuff like that. Roadkill song, it's just something. It just doesn't sound right. I mean, it's balanced, but it feels like there's something missing. And everybody knows what's missing. Everybody says it's the same complaint of everybody. There's no bass. It's not. There's no. Yeah. So, love this album. Wish they would just come out with a version. Just remaster it, reproduce it with more metal. Okay, number three, a band that suffers from a weak member. This is another one that's hard. Another one of those bands that I first got into metal. Is this, and it's this because it's just this album. Iron Maiden, No Prayer for the Dying. And for a lot of people, this is where they stop. At least most of my friends who listen to metal, this is kind of where they stopped really listening to Iron Maiden, because it just started to sound more like the generic, not all the songs on this album. This song still did have a couple of good tracks on it, but the weak band member on this is Bruce Dickinson. Like all the songs where he had a part in it, they weren't great. They sounded more like Tattooed Millionaire. His I think that was the second or first, I can't remember, solo album. It's just like, I don't know, it's just terrible, like, yeah. So, I mean, his lyrics, his vocal performance, most of the other stuff on the album was fine, but the decent songs were just not strong enough to save the whole album from the really bad songs. Because I can't listen to this one. The sad thing is Bruce Dickinson's, I think his second and third or third and fourth solo albums were amazing. Like what was it? Something Freak, The Freak. And the other one was see, I can remember the song Chemical Wedding. Anyway, those are so good, those albums, and those two albums were the equal of just about any Iron Maiden album. There, I said it. Even though his personal efforts on that album were terrible. Let's see. Number 4, show an album that to you defines heavy. Well, it has to be this one. Cryptopsy's solo album. Their first album, Blasphemy Made Flesh. This, as you can see, is an alternate cover from a remaster from Century Media. Just like, I mean, putting aside all the other outstanding, notable elements of this album, it's relentless and heavy. Oh man, it's like being smashed by the Flash, at super speed. It's you put this on, and there's only so high you can put the volume up, listening to this thing before it threatens to smash windows, blow up the speakers. Okay, so next question. Show an album recommended to you by the metal community. Question 5. There were a bunch of them because I kind of got back into metal because I started watching Brainsmasher on YouTube, and he went through a whole bunch of different albums, and I should really get back into that. And I started, he mentioned that you can get stuff direct from distributors, and up to then I'd been quite reticent to to buy things over the internet. And so I started, and now I have most of the stuff here. And this one, the black, a priest of Satan, Swedish supergroup. I don't know what bands the guys are from, but apparently it's a supergroup. I just, as you can see, this is not the original pressing. It doesn't have the red at the corners here. But I had to show you because I just love this every time. The red, that's so good. Thanks, heavy metal community, and Brainsmasher in particular. This was a fantastic album. Okay, now let's go moving on. 6, show an album that takes your musical taste in a different direction. Okay, there were a bunch, I still love, I do occasionally listen to some Corey Hart, some pre-British, like when he kind of, I guess, sold out and gave up on the Canadian rock, that classic 80s Canadian rock style that Bryan Adams, that he brought to the fore. Or Electric Light Orchestra, which was one of the bands the first band that I loved. When I listened to that, and now it's one of the only bands from the 80s. Sorry, one of the only bands from my childhood that I can appreciate even more as an adult. But that's not the one I'm going to choose. This was one of my favorite bands as a teenager. Don't laugh. Thompson Twins. Yes. This is their first album, which I had to get when I was, I worked for Dickie D and spent my money on records and D&D stuff. And I saw this. I'd never heard it. Listened to it a few times back then. It was quite different from the style that I already was acquainted with. And so I kind of put it down. But I recently, about 10 years ago, I decided to give it a listen to, and it's really good. It's better than their other stuff, and that includes songs like Sister of Mercy, which was one of my favorite songs of theirs. Released as a single in Europe, I think, but not in Canada or the US. But I was able to get the 12-inch extended version of that, because that's what I did with most of my Dickie D money. I bought extended remix 12 inches. Anyway, which I still have a whole bunch of those. But why I would put this, why I would say I would choose this and not just the one with Doctor or Don't Mess with Dr. Dream on it, because this is a good album. It was in the style, there was a short-lived style in the 70s and 80s from England, that kind of combined elements of pop, rock, reggae, and punk. Bands like English Beat, Fun Young Cannibals, and my favorite Police album, Regatta de Blanc. And this has that. I mean, it has, you know, elements little that would presage that did presage a lot of their poppy style. But there's still a lot of great songs in this, and I do like it. And the other thing, Tom Bailey, the whitest pop star of the 80s, did an amazing performance of Oma Oreso, which is a Yoruba, like a traditional Yoruba song. Yoruba is for one of the Forest Kingdom nations of Africa. They're the ones where, like, you know, they're the ones where voodoo kind of comes from. It's voodoo is like a mix of Roman Catholicism and their own religion. Yeah, but this it's a great album. I mean, weird. And they recently, I think a few years ago, it was re-released and remastered on CD, because I've been wanting to get it on CD for years. And I finally got the opportunity. So there you go. Who would have thought? Black metal fan still likes the Thompson Twins. If I could. Anyway, let's see. 7, a gem from my collection. Now, I don't collect. I'm not like a heavy metal collector. You know, I don't go out of my way, to buy originals, first pressings. You know, I don't try to go for that, you know, the deep dive thing. I just want the music. If there's like an 8th remaster, reprinting of an album that everyone says is iconic, and I listened to it on YouTube and I enjoy it, you know, I'll buy that. I won't, you know, go digging around, you know, get it imported from like Serbia or like Nairobi or something. I'll just wait for it so I can afford it. But this one here, this is as far as I can tell, this is the original Canadian, you know, the first Canadian printing. My dad, after he retired, he would do work in houses. He would, you know, fix things up, repair, do repainting, stuff like that. And he would find stuff all the time. And he found this, and it was, and like the condition of the outside is pretty good, considering how old this album is. But the LP itself is mint. I kid you not. I could not believe my luck when I found that, when he brought that to me. Okay, let's see. Number 8, the band in your collection that formed closest to where you live. I live in the city called Mississauga. Originally, it was a fair weather place for Anishinaabe people, Haudenosaunee people traveling through. You know, the Mississauga, who are a Anishinaabe people. They lived here for a while. In fact, that's where the city gets its name, because they were here when the Europeans first started piling in, and they're one of the few groups to actually get a decent deal, because they held on to the land they had until they could get something, until they can get a better deal Anyway, it's a city of around 900,000 people. It sits right next door, and I mean right next door to Toronto, which is the 5th largest city in North America and Canada's most populous, of course. And this band, Tomb Mold, Death Metal Masters. This album, that's not the name of the album. The album is called Planetary Clairvoyance. This is unbelievable. This is an amazing album. and it was on everybody's lists. I think it was 2019. Yeah, you should own this if you like death metal, or maybe you used to like death metal and you're thinking about, yeah, maybe I should get back and buy this. Buy it. Buy it. It's awesome. Let's see. 9. A metal album you reach for melody-wise. There's a lot of stuff I listen to, but so basically for me, the litmus test for this question was, do I find myself humming? Occasionally. And I guess Blind Guardian's Nightfall on Middle-earth, the one that has been described as, is that Christmas music? I can still listen to this. You could argue that their successive albums after this, kind of like how many tracks for vocals can we use? Just the sound of is too big. But this is a solid album. I do recommend it if you don't have it. Orchestral power metal. It's a concept album about the Silmarillion from Tolkien's Middle-earth mythology. It's got so much good stuff on here. Mirror, mirror. Nightfall is a great one. The fate of us all lies deep in the dark. That one. That one is my favorite song on the album. No, actually, that's my second one. The last one is my favorite. Next question. 10. The album in your collection you would sell first. Well, this is not because of the music. It's because of the coloring on the art on the cover. Now, this one was put out by Spine Farm. You can see the color on the back looks fine. Look, that looks so gorgeous. Look at the blue. Oh, so good. It looks so beautiful. But the cover, it's just too dark. And it's just off. I guess I would sell this. I don't know. But I do love the blue. That's nice. Okay. Let's see. Number 11, which subgenre of metal would you delete from existence? Well, that one's easy. That's the white supremacist, race nationalist, hate black metal. Most genres of music, have certain areas where people don't want to go. What is it? Hip hop. There are some hip hop musicians that are really into the nasty stuff, and that racist stuff like Nazism and all that stuff. I just wish black metal didn't have that. I wish no one had that stuff. That I just don't want to hear about it, because I always feel like I'm on the defensive when I'm talking about the type of music I like, because a lot of the times the media will latch onto that. It's like with video games. Some guy who turned out to be a mass murderer says, I play video games. So everybody says, video games are bad. Freaking Obama had a whole bunch of studies done, and they found zero evidence that video games cause crime or have a negative. Anyway, that's different stuff. You want to learn about stuff like that? Watch Leanna K on YouTube. Let's see. Moving on. Are we moving on? Yes, we are moving on. Okay, 12. The band artist you would most like to see an album or reissue from in 2021. This is a copy, a CD copy. A friend of mine gave me. Um, My Arms, Your Hearse, Opeth. This is still one of my favorite Opeth albums. This is, I keep going back to this one. It's a fantastic album, but I don't want to pay like, I really want to buy a fancy colored LP of this, but it's just the money, the amount of money, and having to import it from pretty far away. But yeah, this is. I would love for them to just do a reprint and have it affordable. Okay, because that's a great album. Let's see. 13. Which 80s metal act would you love to see a comeback from? Now, this is a weird thing because most of the metal bands from the 80s that people would think of, I listen to, and they're still going, like most of the thrash bands. Testament is still going strong. Metallica, put out, I think they put out an album a couple years ago. Megadeth is still going. Accept is still going. Like they were just doing touring for a while, but they put out an album late last year. Can you believe that? Accept. So I decided to choose one that, again, I like to be unpredictable. So I chose now Platinum Blonde. This isn't the album that I'm referring to, the style which I'm referring. This is when they started really going the pop rock route. You can tell. Look at their clothes. I mean, tell me, like that is so 80s. They had their first album, lying in. Standing in the Dark or something. I can't remember. Anyway, that's a good album. They had a single. Their single from it. Their main single from it was "It Doesn't Really Matter," which is an awesome song. And to me, I say "It Doesn't Really Matter" is a metal song. And I would love, even though I think their bassist died. And they haven't put out an album for decades. But I would love to see them come back in some form to try and take the metal style, or the borderline metal style from Standing in the Dark or Dancing in the Dark or whatever it was, and see what they can do with that. Because I really like that song, and I like, again, 80s, I listen to different stuff than I do now. I love Alien Shores. I love that album. But now as a huge metal fan, I want more of It Doesn't Really Matter. I want them to put out more stuff like that. But anyway, so what do we got next? 14, show an alternative variation of an album cover. Okay, this is a recent one. And a band that I really love. It's a one-man band. Ifanak, a part Irish, part Mi'kmaq descended gentleman from the Gaspé Peninsula, Gaspewagi, and it's this album. What is it? This is the third. This is his third full length. Skin, Stone, Blood, Bone. Came out in 2019 or 2020. I can't remember. I listened to it a lot though, and this is how I was able to get this. Actually, this album. This has more than it has at least three covers. This is what is it, Goat Rex or Goto Rex, which is a Chinese or Japanese label. They put out a vinyl version of this with a completely different cover on it. And then this one came out, I mean, I really like that's very, very solid cover. And then this one came out from Goat Rex. They did they did this one. So there you go. Are you tired of Vikings, just Vikings? Then listen to this. Mi'kmaq Warrior, Getting Revenge, and Going Hunting. Well, that's kind of what the subject of this is. Hunting in the old way. Let's see. 15. A band that for you defines metal. I guess this one. I mean, this album in particular. I don't know. Maybe not the whole. Maybe not the whole band, like all of their albums, but they do. They do have definitive, metal albums. But this one in particular, Painkiller, the title track. When anyone asks me what metal is, I always say that song Painkiller. If you don't like Painkiller, you're probably not gonna. There's probably something about metal that you just can't get into. I mean, it's musically amazing. Unbelievable, and just so over the top pretentious. It's the song. That's Jesus on a rocket motorbike coming back to save humanity from aliens or something. Like evil's going under deadly wheels. Anyway, Painkiller by Judas Priest. Let's see. Show your most metallic album cover, number 16. I don't know. I guess it's this one. It's not my favorite album by him, but it is the only one that I own a physical copy of. This is 9, right? That's what it's called, 9 or 6. Shows how memorable compared to all his other stuff. But that is, look at that cover. That is so awesome. It's like coming out of lava. That's pretty metal. Sure, there's no warriors with like swords and wizards and stuff like that, but I know, pretty metal. Merciful Fate. Personally, my favorite song is The Old Oak. That's such a great song. So where are we now? 17. An album you disliked at first, but now highly regard. I guess it's this one. Human by Death. I was like, it's okay. But, listening to it, I went back to it a few years later. And now it's one of my favorites. I mean, they're honestly, they're all pretty much my favorite. The first two albums, it's the second and third album were pretty much the same album musically. But this one was kind of like it bridged the point where he began to go in a slightly different direction musically. But this is a great album. I love that one. Okay. An album that you liked at first but now disregard. Number 18. Well, this one I hate to kind of like sound like I'm echoing, but when I first got into black metal, there were just a couple of bands that I started listening to. Like there was Disembowelment, which sure, it's Disembowelment is like doomy Black Death. But Emperor, bands like that, the more atmospheric, stuff. But the other one that I really liked was called Burzum. Burzum being darkness in the black speech of Mordor. Unfortunately, after I put out cash for this album and Ask, his first one, the one with the picture on the cover, which I thought that was, at first, that's cute. Not realizing that that photograph was actually why I stopped listening to that guy. He's a Varg, killed a band member, stole cars, and he's a Viking white nationalist and a terrorist. He burnt down some churches, and the cover of one of the reprints of Ask, it has him, the picture that he took of the church after he while it was burning down. Not funny. And because of that, I can't listen to this. I listened to it a lot. And then somebody mentioned, I kind of like, expressed some interest in finding stuff about him online. Someone says maybe you shouldn't go to his website, so I did. It's like, okay, that's it. I'm done with that guy. He actually is evil. He's a guy that makes heavy metal look bad. Okay, so 19, a metal band that deserves more recognition. This one, Wilt, atmospheric black metal. If you like stuff like Burzum or Emperor or just like the not necessarily washed out sound, but a more fulsome but still cold atmospheric sound. That's these guys, Wilt. They're from Winnipeg, and I really like them. I'm so glad that I picked this album up. I got it on CD, and this is like a really cool color LP. And number one grail going in now. The last question, number 20. Number one grail going into 2021. Wow. Oh man. I guess it has to be an album that's already been printed. That is pretty iconic. So I guess I would have to say there's this particular beautiful red vinyl version of wait, I didn't get that. Where is it? Hold on a sec. Here we go. Crack the Sky. I mean, this is I think this is their greatest album. I love this album. And they put out I don't know who it was. I've got it on my want list on Bandcamp and the other one. Anyway, it's beautiful and I want it, but couple $100 is a bit much for me. I'm not that kind of collector, but it would be great if I could get that for cheap. So I guess that's it. We actually got snow today, which is nice. I like snow. Don't be a hater. Snow's awesome. I grew up in Nova Scotia. Once you shovel a driveway in Nova Scotia after a storm, you don't complain about the little dinky little little roads here. Anyway, I hope you like that. If this is the type of thing that you like and subscribe. Press the bell thing, and I'll be able to. I haven't got a lot of actual face-to-face videos. Most of my videos at this point are like a scenic, listening to water sounds and the wind and stuff like that. But I'm trying to do more stuff like this. So if you'd like to hear more about what I like, pay attention.